I was finishing up grad school, and I think that's when we kind of decided it's time that maybe we try to start a family. And, I had all these dreams of, these Pinterest ideas of like having a onesie and all of that and saying, congratulations, you're a daddy and all that kind of stuff. So I took a test and it was positive, and I was home by myself, and he literally came home probably 2 minutes later, and he walked in the door, and I just kind of looked at him and I said, I think we're going to be parents. And he was like, what? So definitely couldn't hold it in. Couldn't hold it in.
Right, bang, hit me right with it as soon as I walked in the door. And I really didn't know how to respond. I'm like, are we happy about this? Am I supposed to be happy about this? And I really couldn't. She was like, yeah, we need to be happy. I was like, all right, we're happy. All right, let's do this.
I woke up that morning. It was a Monday morning of all things, and I thought Emery was having hiccups. I could feel movements like hiccups, and I thought, oh, this is kind of crazy. And I thought, something's not quite right. So around lunchtime, I called my OB office, and they said, hey, just come in. It's probably just hiccups. She's probably just mad, not moving as much as she normally is. They did an ultrasound, and they noticed her heart rate was a little high. And it hadn't been high the whole time. So they sent me to the hospital, and then ultimately they decided that something wasn't right. So they ended up doing a C-section. The operation was getting ready to be done, and she was born. And the doctor did say, she said, you won't hear her crying because she is having seizures, so we don't want to stimulate her. I'm a nurse practitioner. I know that babies aren't supposed to have seizures. The first thing that popped into my head was, it's okay. We can handle a child with seizures. We'll make it work, not even thinking. And I think that was kind of God protecting us a little bit, kind of giving us that hope that everything was going to be okay. What they determined was at some point within the few days before she was born, there was a lack of oxygen between her and I. But unfortunately, when you have a loss of oxygen like that, it affects your brain, and you can't regenerate brain cells. So her MRI showed that she had some pretty significant brain damage from the oxygen. Structurally, her brain was fine.
Just a million thoughts going through your head. You're right. You're still in husband mode. You're still in that protector role and want to make sure that she's okay. And then at the same time, you want to try to go into that father role and be protector for Emery and try to figure out what's best for her. And you're battling those inner thoughts like, she'll bounce back, she'll make it.
Ultimately, we were told we needed to make a decision.
We knew that the longer she stayed in the current situation that she was in, the higher the chances for other infections or something else to take place. Mm-hmm. And we didn't want that for her. And so we decided to remove life support, and at that point it'd be up to God. It'd be His decision. Mm-hmm. It was ultimately His decision or not for Emery's, whether she lives here on this earth or she comes home and lives with him. So at that point, we were at peace with that decision that at the moment we remove care, either God was going to breathe life into her or receive her.
I think I repeated multiple times, like, how did we get here? How did this happen? It just didn't seem real for the longest time.
It's hard to describe. Like as soon as we removed care, it's amazing how fast it took place. But at the same time, it seemed like time stood still.
Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of, people ask, how did you do that? Like, there's no way that I can make that decision. And for us, it was just peaceful.
Yeah.
Every situation's different. But I think just for us, I remember, just like I think Brent said earlier, Pastor Cliff came to us, and my biggest question was, when do we do this? What if God's going to perform that miracle? And how do I know it's not going to be the day after we decide to remove care? And he said, if he's going to perform it, he's going to perform it. It doesn't matter. Once you make that decision, it's no longer in your hands. And I think probably for the first few months, it's just shock, denial, because you expect to give birth and then come home and take care of a baby. And so I had all of those motherly instincts. And I would be in the middle of the night waking up thinking I'm supposed to be feeding a baby. I'm supposed to be changing diapers, and I couldn't.
It was one of it is the hardest decision that we've had to make in our life. But it's undescribable of the kind of calming and the peace that we had about it.
Right.
But I mean, it's hardest thing we've ever had to do. But I just don't know how to describe. It's just the peacefulness of making that decision, because it wasn't us who was making the call whether she lives or not. It was God's decision, and we were just, we're just lucky to, be her parents. Mm-hmm. So. Church had a dream that we were standing outside of a facility, and it said Emery's place. How we came about of the food ministry part, or being able to feed individuals. Everybody who came always brought something to eat, and we had more food than we knew what to do with. And so we were trying to give food away there at the hospital. We were giving it to families who were there in the similar situations that we were. We were giving it to the nurses, the doctors, the staff that was there. And so I think that's kind of how that process began. Reality is that could be a few years down the road before we're able to purchase a piece of land and build a facility, or buy an already constructed facility and renovate it. So let's keep that dream alive, but at the same time, let's have an immediate start with it, and let's go mobile with it. Let's do a food truck. We take the food truck now out to communities and feed communities, but we also want to do that with disaster areas. When disaster strikes, for example, last year Hurricane Matthew came through here. Something like that happens again, we can load up, go to the communities that have been hit hard, and go and pass out some food to the individuals there. But ultimately, I think the long-term goal is to have a permanent facility. And then, here immediately we have this mobile unit, so to speak, to go out into the community here in Wilson, in greater Wilson area, surrounding counties, surrounding communities, just to feed people, love on them, to minister to them. And then the long-term vision is with this permanent facility that we have is continue to feed individuals, food distribution, serving hot meals as well, but evolving into something greater, a multi-purpose functioning facility, to where maybe it's a rehab facility, maybe it's some type of shelter.
And for us, it kind of, makes things a little personal. It's here, it's in our town. We get to help out, we get to help serve people. And it's pretty cool because, obviously we want Emery here doing all of this with us, but it's kind of cool to see something evolve in her name and in her honor, and something that we can do to show the love of Christ to others.
We don't know what her purpose was here on this earth, but, we're going to try to figure that out.
And I think for us too, as a parent, you want to see your kids grow up and do great things, and we don't get that. So I think it's kind of a cool, not replacement, but a cool thing to see something grow from her memory, So
this world will know that she was here.
Mm-hmm.